I forgot that I can't film for longer than 10 minutes because I'm poor. So we're letting all the paint get washed away, or mostly washed away. Wash out the strainer. And now for this next one, we're going to do a cup pour. So when you are using a pouring medium, the paint is basically, the new paint you pour in is going to sink to the bottom. So pretty much whatever you pour in first, it's going to look, the top of your cup is going to look like that the whole time. As opposed to if you were doing straight paint, then you are able to kind of manipulate it more, but then it takes forever to dry. So I'm going to start with some paint, and you just kind of pour these in there as you want to. Try to layer them strategically, but for the most part, you're just going to see that top color. Like right now, I see pink, I see a little purple. And you want to try to fill it enough to cover your canvas on one try. That's the ideal. In the past, I have had times where I couldn't do it with one cup, and so then I've grabbed a shot glass and filled that up with paint and used that for the smaller areas. And that's all fun and games until your shot glass falls down your garbage disposal and you have no idea, and you innocently turn on the garbage disposal trying to be a decent human being, and then glass flies up and you almost die, and it's a whole big thing. So I'm going to take the bigger canvas. Well, it's not that big. It's 8 by 10. So we got our paint in here. It's a little under halfway full. And different people do this different ways. If you want to put it in the middle, that's fine, but then you're going to have to be moving it a lot and shifting the canvas around in order to get the space filled. So I normally kind of start in the corner because I like moving it around, but that stresses me out also a little bit. So give it a second. I'll let the paint sink to the bottom. And then once I take the cup off, I'm going to try to manipulate the paint to spread where I want it to spread all the way to the corner to keep the colors visible where I want them. And I'm going to keep this cup and not rinse it out because there's going to be paint at the bottom that's like not mixing together, so I can use that again if I have enough at the end to do another one of these. So let it out. And if you see that it's all kind of going one way, you can tap the edge on the other parts to make sure it gets full. And then you're just gonna kind of move it around. The first priority for me is always getting all the space full, and then I'll kind of take some time to manipulate it and turn it whatever direction I want to get the colors that I want. So once you're happy with it, I really like this because it's got a lot of like green streaks coming in from the side. This paint is pretty liquidy. Is that a word? It's pretty liquidy. So just be careful when you're transporting it to the drying area. You don't want to be dripping all over the place, but if you do drip, it's not a big deal. It's pretty simple to clean up. Okay, again, rinse out the sink. Okay, now I'm going to do another one with the strainer. Let's see if I've gotten better at it in the last 5 minutes. Probably haven't. Okay, again, I'm going to do the square one. It's just the shape that works the best for this. Okay, so I'm going to start with this pink because it's probably going to get pushed out, and I have a ton of it anyways. I don't have as much white. If you're really feeling crazy, you can take the cup you just used and try to pour some of that stuff in there. It's gonna take a while, but see there, it's really going for it. Okay, and you're kind of aiming at the middle if you want it to be concentric and even, if you're not a monster. And it's cool, it looks like a flower. It's cute. So you already can't see the pink that we initially started out with, which is cool and infuriating at the same time. So you've got to be paying attention to what the outer layers are doing as you're adding more, because if you're not adding more of the first color that you put in, you're not going to even realize it was there at the end. So I'm going to give it a minute, let it continue to spread out, and then I'm going to pause and take inventory. Here we are. Figure out what color I want to add more of. Okay, we got room for some more of this pink that's pretending to be a purple. Always do more yellow if you're me. I'm looking at a lot of green in the sink here because I've got yellow and blue. And if you went to kindergarten, like I did, you know that those colors make green. Okay, so it's not spreading entirely how I want it to right now, but it's pretty much what always happens in my life, so it's fine. I'm not even rattled. I'm used to it. Why would good things happen to me, right? Just doing some more waiting. It is almost as fun as it looks. A little light at the top in the center. Okay, now I always tell myself I'm not going to tilt it, and then I get impatient and I tilt it. But as long as you tilt it back to where you started, that's fine. And it's going to still stay, like it's still going to look decent. And if you see that you think it's starting to get out of control, you can always be like, never mind, I trusted you too much. Another trick you can use is if you had to really push it a lot to get it where you needed it to go, you lift up, you're like, that's not what I wanted. You can just plop this bad boy right back down, say, hey, I want a yellow flower in the middle. Cover that bottom layer with yellow, give it a minute, let it spread out. I'm going to do also some white. Spread out. And then, ta-da! That is what I call cheating. And as Trixie Mattel would say, who's the wiser? Right, rinse your sink. Okay, now we're gonna do pouring in the strainer and then really moving it around. So kind of shake the excess water off, plop your strainer wherever you want it, pour whatever you want in. And this one we're really gonna move around because if you move it around enough, it doesn't even look like a strainer was used. If you're the type of person that doesn't want people to know that you ordered a special type of sink strainer off of Amazon for an art project, that's fine. Okay, so when you're like, you know what, that's enough paint to cover the whole thing, lift it up, and then ta-da, and now I've covered the whole canvas, but I'm like, hey, there's no blue, there's no purple. I carefully rinse off the strainer, plop it back down in the middle, and I'm like, yeah, I miss blue and purple. Remember when those were colors? Ta-da! Lift that sink strainer, and I can put my blue and purple wherever I want. Now, I still have some paint left over, so I'm going to go find the canvases that I think will work for that